not Sigma.
Even though
I'm recording.
Oh yeah.
But,
Oh yeah. Hi Tabby. Sorry.
That is
Yeah, we can hear
technically
ya.
true, unless you're outside. Then it would be the sky.
I always
Right
have
now,
looked up.
looks like ceiling, but you can never be too sure. Sometimes those ceilings can be confusing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And TabbyCat 406 is probably going to be late to this episode, but he should join us later on. However, this time I'm the one who's here early, but I am currently slightly out of commission because I have a cold right now.
Yeah, it seems like everyone that I've been talking to is out of commission for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I was supposed to get my car, the exterior, I needed to get that washed because the snow up here is just awful on that thing. In fact, Sunday I took a road trip in it, and all that dirt and schmutz, it just ruined the paint. And so I need to get that thing washed and cleaned up. But the guy who was supposed to do it, unfortunately, had a hockey injury, and so, yep, still dirty.
Yeah, I know hockey has a tendency to be violent.
Well, considering you're at high speed, and if you don't know how to slow down, you're going down hard.
And hockey in general is just kind of violent anyway, and aggressive anyway, so... But I don't play hockey, and I don't even watch hockey, so...
Yep. All right. We have a list of topics, supposedly.
Alright, so, we can't discuss our first topic because Tabby's not here right now, but we can discuss our second one, which is iOS 18.3, which is apparently in beta form now.
What did I update to yesterday?
Oh, maybe it's released now.
I thought I updated to that yesterday. Software.
Yeah, I heard that was only in beta form, but I saw your text about it, so it might be out
18.3.
now.
Yep.
Alright, so let me guess. iOS 18.3 is just as unstable.
Yeah, they basically fixed nothing. If anything, they brought back some bugs that they got rid of in iOS 18.2. Now they're back again.
Oof.
Like, I had a bug where if I have audio playing, be it from the music app or the YouTube or wherever, if I just have audio playing through my headphones, if I shut the screen off, instantly pauses. It just pauses whatever's playing.
That's annoying.
Yeah. This was a problem in previous versions of iOS 18. They fixed it in 18.2, but now it's back again.
Gee, sounds like Apple really loves artificial intelligence.
Oh my. Ugh. Yeah, and I still feel the bugs have been continuing to get worse and worse and worse. I know I had a whole long list of them somewhere in our group chat. Let me see if I can read over them. I gotta scroll up a bit, though, so let me see.
I'm going to try to integrate some of the images of stuff that we talk about on the podcast now, like Alpha Div, or, well, I'm going to upload the video version of this one probably tomorrow, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry about the delay and all that. I was supposed to finish it Sunday, but then I ended up going on a road trip on Sunday.
You're going on a road trip in January?
just to escape town. Let me see.
I would ask you where you went to, but that's probably not relevant.
It was just to Ironwood.
Oh, that's not that far.
No, it's only like 2 hours or something. Just an escape.
I rarely ever go 2 hours away from my house.
Where's the list for bugs that I texted you guys? I can't find it.
I looked for it too, and I can't find it. Well, we know you've had all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, you can actually search text now. Let me try that. Notification the airdrop has just failed. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot send message.
Yep, random airdrops have been failing. I still have my occasional the app gets stuck in the swipe home process.
That's so annoying.
I have no idea why it's doing that, and it is very much annoying. I've mentioned the previous bugs before. I don't know. I was supposed to have a long list all prepared for today, except then my brain just decided, nope, we're not going to remember anything.
Well,
God love ADHD. You can't remember anything because of it.
My body's currently out of commission, so I understand. And
it's just, yeah, it continues to be frustrating that we're into January now, and somehow these bugs have not been addressed yet. Like, this is what needs to be the focus of iOS 19.
It's rumored not to be, but yeah, iOS 11 was a lot better for me than what Alpha's describing of 18.
Yeah, it's just, and just so you know, it's not on just the XS Max. It's both the XS Max and the 13 Pro Max. In fact, actually, the 13 Pro Max actually has AirDrop fail more often than my XS Max.
Wow.
Which is a problem because guess what I use for filming most of the time?
Your 13 Pro Max.
Yeah, and I can't use the wire because the charge port isn't working, so I have to use AirDrop. It just, it's frustrating.
One of the main reasons why I actually had to upgrade to my iPhone 14 Pro is that, let me grab it. It's really becoming a catchphrase of the show. But my old iPhone 11 Pro Max decided to start failing to AirDrop thanks to my Mac all of a sudden, which is one of the
that's not good.
Which is one of the reasons why I had to upgrade to my iPhone 14 Pro. It wasn't necessarily the key factor that caused me to, but that was the first issue I had with my 11 Pro Max that made me want to upgrade. And then the battery life got basically shot.
Yeah, I'm sort of dealing with that on my XS Max. I mean, it still gets me through the day.
Yeah.
Albeit I do plug it into many chargers over the course of the day, but that's just... I mean, it works. But, it's... Come September, it's time for this thing to retire, which is sad for me, but...
It's had a long life.
Yeah.
Alright. Do you have anything more to say on iOS 18 bugs, or shall we move on to our next, actually very fascinating topic?
Yeah, this is a bit concerning and such.
So, you know how OpenAI has stolen like intellectual property of a lot of different sources of media.
Like us, for example. Maybe not us directly, but I mean like YouTubers in general.
Yeah, well, somebody finally stole OpenAI's code. Sadly, it's China, but yes. We're, of course, talking about China's DeepSeek AI, which has not only stolen code from OpenAI, but it's apparently free, open source, and it performs on par with OpenAI's $200 a month model. So hang on. So in other words,
China's speed, man.
So in other words, they basically stole, and the founder of DeepSeek has a background in finance. So in other words, they decided to steal all of OpenAI's code, or training data, I should say, and basically make it free, like what China always does.
Makes me wonder, was Beeper Mini a Chinese-owned app? Because remember that whole saga last year?
Yes.
I actually wonder if they were Chinese.
Nova Technology. No, they're based in New Jersey. They're owned by a company based in New Jersey.
Wow. I wonder if they got sued or not. I hope they did.
I think Apple just shut it down probably because you know Beeper would have had to have just simply declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, I suppose. They probably wouldn't be able to get much money out of them.
No.
So,
But yeah,
dude, China's speed is real when it comes to them developing technologies. At first, Chinese smartphones, they were just garbage. Now you can buy a pretty decent phone from China, if I'm being honest. Same with their EV technology. In fact, it was actually today I just watched a video from Out of Spec charging a battery from 0 to 100% in 22 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say that China China doesn't develop anything. They just basically do a lot of reverse engineering and piracy because that's what China does.
Not the case with their battery tech, though. I don't know, because I've looked anywhere else in the world. Nobody has this type of battery tech. Nobody.
There are some legitimate firms, but yeah, getting back on topic, DeepSeek AI is definitely not an example of a legitimate firm.
No. But even still, like, sometimes I'm getting the sense of, I don't want to tie politics into much, but sometimes I get a sense of, if you keep banning or extreme taxation upon foreign products, like how the US has constantly been banning Chinese stuff, like Huawei, for example. Look at Huawei today. They're not actually in that bad of a position, despite that before the ban, they were relying on so many different US technologies to make their stuff. But after the ban was put in place, look at them now.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that they don't, I mean, again, it's possible they pirated all their stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that Chinese companies are necessarily in the worst spot because of the U.S. bans, but I still don't think that Chinese technology should be allowed into the United States just for, again, political reasons. Like, I don't want their government spying on me.
Yeah. But especially at the same time, look at the consequences that a lot of this has been causing.
It's not causing consequences
but it's basically putting China in a position of, okay, the U.S., nobody's going to give us this. It's either we abandon it or we find a way to steal it and develop it ourselves and make it something really special.
That's what they do. They steal it. So, yeah. Yeah, I think personally the U.S. should just ban all Chinese apps and whatnot and trade with China just because I don't like what they do. And again, it just comes to there is one condition which I think the U.S. should allow trade with China, and that is if China agrees to get rid of their law or abolish their law about where, so China has this law where for every Chinese company has to, 3 of the board members must be members of the Chinese Communist Party or effectively the Chinese government. So in other words, the Chinese government is involved in everything that China produces.
I mean, hey, it's a communist nation. Of course the government's involved in everything.
Yeah, so as a result, because again, the U.S. is largely a capitalist market, so as a result, it just doesn't mix well. And of course, again, for like with TikTok and Red Note, you especially know that that's, again, if you just think about it, if you have all the young boys sitting on their wasting 5 hours a day on their phones, just not being active. I don't want to get too political here, but I'm just saying that's going to make them a little bit too kind of inadequate for the military, and it's almost as if China is attempting to weaken the U.S. military. Well, they are.
It's very frustrating how, yes, I hate the part that China effectively steals and copies almost everything we do. The thing that I hate most, though, is that ultimately, sometimes I think they're coming out with a better product.
I don't think that China ever comes out with better products.
Their battery tech, though,
I mean,
it is legitimately better. In fact, a lot of electric
how do you know
cars-
it's safe though? How do you genuinely know it's going to be safe and not blow your house up?
Well, LFP is a really good example of it. Tesla uses them in a lot of applications. That, and actually, studies have proven that the Chinese-developed lithium iron phosphate battery is technically safer than the other chemistry that we use in actually most of our other products, like these. And I just watched a video of one of those Chinese LFP batteries to be charged so insanely quickly. Now, how long is it going to do that? I don't know, because it's brand new technology and such, but LFP is technically a Chinese-developed technology. I have not seen it developed anywhere else. And yet, it's one of my personal favorite technologies, but it was developed in China, which is, yeah, that sucks, honestly, but there are some things where, yeah, the product that, whether they stole it or not, whether it's a complete rip-off of something else or not,
like BYD.
Yeah. It's hard to argue the end result, though. And while we personally have that bias of, yeah, we don't want to buy all of this China crap, not everyone else feels the same way compared to us. I mean, why do you think Temu is so successful despite how inferior of a product lineup and shopping experience it is?
It's because it's cheap crap. It's cheap.
That's always been China's advantage, because the government funds so heavily in their manufacturing and all sorts of other industries. The government just spends so much money on that, and also they pay their workers almost nothing. I get that. There's some labor ethics issues and such, but labor ethics aside, even the government also really subsidizes the production of a lot of their stuff, and that's how they often get...
I strongly disagree with government subsidized.
Same here. Same here. But again, we have this issue where, because China's government is doing it, look at their product line and the cost. And while, yeah, some of it really is actual garbage, again, some of it isn't just straight up garbage. Like, there's a lot of Chinese phones that are honestly pretty decent, aside from maybe the government spying on you, but that's a China-related problem. And then the battery tech that I keep bringing up too, that's the big thing where I think China really is ahead of all of us on. So, yeah, it's a frustrating position. And I'm not saying the solution is the US government needs to spend all the money and subsidize everything. I personally don't like that idea.
No, because that's a waste of our taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, but at the same time, how do you compete on a global scale like that when China's offering similar, maybe sometimes better quality for cheaper?
I've never heard of China offering better quality for cheaper. Except for
Take
that.
the
I've never heard of that.
Hold on. Take this. Have you heard of the Xiaomi car? The Xiaomi SU7 or something like that?
I hate Xiaomi.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but they actually built a pretty decent electric car. In fact, if I recall, doesn't it currently have the lap record at the Nürburgring?
Of course, but that Xiaomi didn't develop the technology for themselves. For Xiaomi, Xiaomi literally rips off Apple with everything.
Yeah, they do that.
So
hey.
So of course you can't trust them.
But design aside, it still has the lap record at the Nürburgring. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch China come out with all of this stuff, be it despite their unethical practices. It's frustrating.
Well, at least we're not at least it's not. Oh, did I forget to mention that? I forgot to mention that one of my friends downloaded DeepSeek.
See, this is the problem. OpenAI, an American company, charges $200 for AI BS. Here comes China with a free alternative that does the same thing. What do you think people are going to gravitate towards?
I mean, especially if my friend can, instead of paying $30 a month for ChatGPT, he can get DeepSeek for free, then, obviously he's going to have DeepSeek do his schoolwork for him.
Is it frustrating? This is a problem on a global scale. It's so hard for us to compete right now because of China's unethical labor practices and the huge government subsidization. It's just, wow.
Again, the tariffs will definitely. The idea is for the tariffs to eventually take place. That way, it'll be so expensive. It'll be so to make Chinese products be so expensive nonetheless.
I mean, we already have the 100% tariff on electric vehicles, which, oh my gosh, does that really hurt them?
I mean, yes, but at the same time, because there's a 100% tariff on each Chinese EVs, as a result, they're kind of innovating. So therefore, if we apply that to everything else made in China, then China is going to have to actually start competing, and stop making crap.
Just like what Huawei did.
Give you.
I mean, I think Huawei has always been more of a premium Chinese smartphone maker.
Yeah, they have.
So, but yeah, despite the tariffs and the bans and just all of the BS that was thrown at them, for lack of a better term, we thought that basically the entire tech industry thought they were going to die. Well, they've proven us wrong. They're doing okay.
Because did you know that Google products and services are actually banned in China?
Yeah, I heard that YouTube doesn't work there. Yeah. Despite that, the U.S. has a lot of tariffs against China. China has a lot of tariffs against us. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're, as you can tell, we're not very friendly nations towards each other.
No. But shall I move on to?
Not trying to get political here, but it's just from a
This is the
business
political
perspective, I wanted
show
to dive on
now.
this for a while. So,
But yeah, we often get political here, but how about we move on to the Android XR concept image that Samsung revealed, which I think MKBHD did a review on that headset now.
my gosh. Just, I saw that thing and immediately, you know what? Samsung's lost. It's time to say it. Samsung's officially lost the game.
Yeah, Samsung had the Gear VR headset all the way back in 2015, but now this XR headset is such a joke because it looks like a ripoff of. It looks like a complete ripoff of the Vision, both the Vision Pro and
it doesn't
the
look like a complete
Medical.
ripoff of the Vision Pro. It is a complete ripoff of the Apple Vision Pro.
Is the UI like a complete ripoff?
It's similar, maybe not exact, but the concepts are there.
Maybe the US should just ban
They
Samsung
even copied
clocks.
they even copied the little detail about the battery pack on that thing. How not only is it external, but it's wired up to literally the exact same position on the Vision Pro, and it locks in the exact same way as the Vision Pro. There was no need to copy this detail, but they did.
The US should just ban Samsung at this point, maybe.
Well, the problem is they're a
copying.
South Korean company, and we have a lot of good relationship with South Korea.
South Korea is they're a good country. It's just that Samsung is not a good company, and
Well, they used to be,
yeah, they used to be,
but
but their technology part business is just not doing well.
yeah, the second I watched Marquez's video and the first time he showcased the actual Galaxy XR, whatever that thing is, I'm just watching Samsung. They've admitted defeat. They did it with their Galaxy Buds 3 or whatever they are. They did it with their Watch Ultra. We know exactly where the branding came from. And they're doing it with this. You know what? I mean, they've also designed which was it? The Note 10. The Note 10 looked exactly like an iPhone XS Max, but instead of having a flash right here, it had an extra camera lens. You know how Samsung likes to attack Apple with their advertisements?
Are you saying that Apple should attack Samsung?
I'm thinking of getting back at them. In fact, there's now the memes on Twitter about how Samsung fans have always been complaining that the iPhone never changes. We've been stuck on the same design for how many years?
Oh yeah, you mentioned this in the last episode.
Yeah, just now I can come up with so many things. In fact, I want to do a remake on their Ingenious ads. Because remember how the Ingenious ads always pointed out things like, oh, the Samsung has an SD card slot. We have a headphone jack. We have faster download speeds. Stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we should totally do that. And another point is that iPhones are starting to look a lot more varied each year than Samsung phones, because, I mean...
I was going to say, at least we can tell the differences between the latest iPhones and the previous generations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can't even tell the difference between an S24 and an S25. And S23
I have
and
found a
S22.
slight difference. It's in the corners of the phone. But other than that, no, there really isn't much of a difference.
Samsung.
Complete hypocrites. And at this point, they've just admitted defeat. Especially showcasing that VR headset. This space of mixed reality still hasn't really been fully defined. And despite that Apple put out their own interpretation, which you have to admit, very unique, very original. The problem is either A, the world is not ready for mixed reality, or B, my personal opinion, there's no point to it.
Yeah, same. There's no point.
But yeah, Apple at least came out with something very unique and made, honestly, I think, the best interpretation of how a VR headset should work. Yeah. And what does Samsung do in a space that's so undefined? When I know Samsung has some very impressive hardware engineers. They do. What do? Just blatantly rip off Apple.
And Samsung, and surely Samsung would think of the... I can't believe that Samsung executives people at Samsung don't think that they're complete ripoffs of Apple.
No, they do. Remember that video I made last year?
Yeah. Or I can't believe
Samsung's own CEO admitted, yeah, I'm not particularly proud that the team is just ripping off Apple's designs. I talked about that. That made news last year, actually.
Oh, yeah. But,
and they're still doing it!
But furthermore, like, how does Samsung not think that average customers are going to notice that they're ripping off Apple? Especially people who are buying the Android XR headset, which I'm going to guess the Android XR is going to be expensive.
Oh, yeah, I suppose they didn't release a price on it. You know, I wonder, would they actually price it at the same $3,500? Or would they price it slightly lower just to troll Apple?
I think they would price it at $3,500.
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, most of their hardware nowadays is actually costing more than Apple, to my surprise.
Yeah, contrary to what it sort of used to be.
I mean, seriously, if you take a look at the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple's best phone, it starts at $1,200. The Galaxy S25 Ultra starts at, is it $1,300 or $1,400? I don't remember the exact price. Either way, it's still more expensive. It's still more expensive. Oh, wait. But they're not going to say that the S25 Ultra is their best. No, that's supposed to go to the Z Fold, the foldable BS that I still have yet to find a use case for.
It's $1,300.
Okay, so yeah, it's $100 more expensive. And even then, their foldable stuff, which I guess is their new flagship best phones or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching every YouTuber and Twitter user try to explain, oh, but no, the foldable feature is useful for this, that, and that. No, you're literally trying to come up with reasons to use the foldable display. Most of the time, from what I found, especially on the Z Flip series, where it's just take your standard candy bar phone here and fold it in half. All the flipping action is just a hindrance. So, Samsung, where'd you go wrong? Where did you go wrong? How did you stray so far from awesome?
Samsung decided to become an AI company. That's what happened.
That's unfortunate.
It's so hard to be a tech enthusiast right now because I feel that literally everything we talk about is negative.
Yeah, I've been longing for something positive to talk about on the Gadgets channel. I'm trying so hard to find something positive.
Yeah, I mean, it's so rare we actually talk about like when the podcast first started, it was not. I mean, we talked about negative stuff, but it wasn't like the main focus.
Yeah, we used to talk about when great stuff came out. Like
Mind you,
the
this
last time I
podcast
think
isn't
we
even-
talked about something positive was the Mac Mini. The Mac Mini refresh.
Yeah, I mean the iPhone 16 refresh in a sense, but yeah.
Just, well, it is. Yeah, it's so hard to be a tech enthusiast nowadays because all the tech giants want to talk about is this AI BS that we've already known for years. It's not useful. It doesn't matter how many iterations or how many improvements you make. It doesn't matter. It's not practical for the daily life as much as they want you to think it is. And because that's all they're focusing on, there are other products which we find more exciting, be it the iPhone, iOS, iPads, or whatever. Those lines have just taken such a nosedive, and now literally we can't find excitement in anything.
Yeah, for I know it's so irritating because I mean it's almost the one of the key principles of capitalism is that you're supposed to be able to vote with your own wallets and supposed to dictate what gets made. However, nowadays it feels like that's not no longer the case because of investors.
Yeah, that's the thing. Apple's number one goal, unfortunately, is they have to make money to please investors. And because of so many moves they've made and related to that, I mean, I've tried voting with my wallet in buying last year's iPhone at the time I made the purchase. And I'm still using it to this day. I've tried voting with my dollar, but we've all seen where that's gone.
But
And haven't we still seen iPad sales decline over time?
I don't know.
If I recall, I think their iPad sales are still down. And yet, somehow, I personally know why they're still down. It's because, maybe, I don't know, the operating system isn't taking advantage of the hardware, maybe? I don't know. It's just a possible theory. And
I think what Apple oh, you talk.
yeah. I do think at this point people finally have recognized, yes, iPadOS actually does need some work. And so they are voting with their wallets. If they need a new iPad, they're buying cheaper iPads and not the latest iPad Pros.
Well, except
And
for
if-
you.
Yeah, well, I did it for separate reasons, and I'm a bit of an outlier in this case. But I'm talking like businesses or people who are actually supposed to take real advantage of the iPad Pros and not just YouTube idiots like myself. But yeah, it's either they're buying cheaper budget iPads or they're just holding on to those older iPads because, I mean, hey, if the software doesn't run any differently between old iPad and new iPad, then why replace it? So I do think businesses or the people who would buy the more expensive iPads, I do think they are voting with their wallets. But Apple hasn't recognized that.
I think what Apple should personally do is I think they should just go back to putting the A series of chips in all their iPads, get rid of the iPad Air, and quite frankly, I think they should just get rid of the temporary or like the $350 iPad 2 and just have 3 sizes of the iPad. The iPad Mini, and then the 11-inch iPad, and then the 12.9-inch iPad, and call it a day.
Yeah, there's too many hardware options. Most of them Most of them have problems with the software taking advantage of them. And yet somehow Apple still hasn't recognized where the actual problem is, despite that iPad customers have been voting with their wallets.
Well, again, the investors have also been voting with their wallets, and they think it's just fine. So,
Yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder if there should be like maybe if the U.S. should make a law that bans investors from investing in buying stock into companies.
I think what needs to happen is we need to rethink the fundamental purpose of investing, because what it is now, and some people try to tell me otherwise, what it is now, let's be honest, it's just another version of gambling. That's all
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
Like, investment used to have an actual purpose. It was supposed to help a company bring product ideas to life, provide them the finances necessary, and hey, if it succeeds, then the investor can make something off of it too. It's a win-win situation. But none of this is here anymore. None of this, oh, I want to see this amazing idea come to light. And basically what I want is a version of Kickstarter. Just a big version of Kickstarter or GoDaddy or whatever it is. But for funding companies like on the scale that we have the stock market do, for example. Problem is, this is not how it works right now. And all it is right now is just gambling on a large and public scale. It's just gambling.
Exactly.
And so,
And we all know how successful gambling is.
I mean, hey,
My friends
you
are
might get that jackpot.
My friends tell me that gambling is great, but we all know gambling is horrible.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. And when you have gambling on this scale that's empowering our companies to do what they do, it's just a complete, total cluster, you know what.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have another rant on investors.
We've been doing this for almost 3 years now. And
Just to show how much has changed. We're crying. We're really trying. I know. We're crying for something to change. We need this status quo to stop and move on to something else. But they just keep insisting, no, we're staying the course. We're staying the AI BS course. We're not focusing on what customers actually need. We're only going to focus on pleasing shareholders. Let's stay that course. And this is how we're in the hole that we're in right now. And what sucks is probably be due to our channel sizes and the communities that we've built. At least I'm talking like on a small scale, like this podcast and such. We're too small to do anything about it. If we were the size of The Verge, oh, dude, imagine everyone's reactions right now. But we're not. We're just two random dudes somewhere in the United States trying to voice our frustration and call for change. It's really annoying that this is the position we're in.
Yeah, exactly. Like a couple of my friends were talking about how great Raycons are, and so I sent one of my friends Alpha's review of Raycons, and he said, and he literally told me that it seems fake just because of your appearance. Because you're, quote, not Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A reviewer's appearance totally has to do with the actual content, not.
Dude, I've seen people look way worse than me and make actual proper content. Like, for the longest time, John Prosser, he was a hot mess. But he's always made really good content.
Yeah, his set is a literal toilet. Or his set was one point a literal toilet.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, for season 10 of FPT, he asked Ian Zelbo to 3D render a set. And the new FPT set was supposed to be featured in a bathrobe. Yeah, there are some people that are even hotter messes than me. I'll admit, I'm a hot mess right now if I'm being honest, but I don't know. I've seen people who I think are in a hotter mess than me and still put out some amazing content.
For one quote that one quote from the YouTuber Film Booth that I always remember is that you're not the star of your content. The content is the star.
Yeah. I'm just the person who makes it.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it involves myself being on camera, well, no, I admit I'm not the best looking. I'm sure other people have felt the same way when they've stepped on camera to present for a video and such. But yeah, a lot of the times we think, yeah, we're not the best looking, but that's not what matters.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, like for me, and because most of my content is commentary, what does my appearance have to do with commentary?
It doesn't. You're a literal audiophile, so you're very qualified to give a review about, and you actually bought the Raycon, so you're very qualified to give a review on Raycons.
Yes, to be clear, don't make me go back through my purchase history, because this was months ago, but there is a charge on my credit card for Raycons. I did buy them.
I don't really watch sponsor reviews for Raycons, but
yeah, I always skip over them, but I can just tell they are full of it every single time I see one of those sponsored ads.
Well, YouTube sponsorships have actually been getting quite a lot more backlash lately.
I mean, the thing is, though, there is a way to do it right. Can you at least... I know you never want to do sponsorships, and that's totally fine. But can you at least agree that there is a way to do it right?
Yeah, like the way you have it done. Like the way you have it done with QAnon Chevrolet.
Yeah. I mean, for one,
you just
I
said
disclosed...
they lent you the vehicle.
Yeah. I'm being honest that, yeah, they let me borrow this vehicle for testing. And in return, I gave them a little bit of advertising.
Yeah, and Tech Alter and Martin, I think the guy from the Friday Checkout. He always discloses whenever he's talking about his about technology. He always discloses whether it was sponsored or not, and he always discloses what they paid for this.
Yeah, in fact, now I can say I can now bring up Talos of Tech as an example. Drew has always been against sponsorships for the longest time, but because he's had a lot of companies send him products for free, asking for his genuine opinion, and his audience just assuming, oh, it's sponsored content, despite that Drew never really was paid for anything. He finally did take a sponsorship once. But even I admit, the way he did it was very ethical.
Was that like the Dougie Max?
No, it was... I don't remember the brand, but it was supposed to be a phone case. It was a phone case for the 16 Pro Max. The story for that was whoever that phone case maker was, they reached out to Drew asking if Drew could showcase their new cases for the 16 series. Problem was, Drew didn't have a 16 at the time, and he was using his 15 Pro, and he didn't plan on buying the 16 either until he decided, I'm going to speak for him right now. Okay, I really want my wife to have a USB-C iPhone because I am so tired of having to carry both a USB-C and a lightning cable when we go on trips. So I'll agree to do this sponsorship. I'll take the 16 Pro Max, and then I'll give my wife my old 15 Pro Max. That was his thought process. And so, but yeah, if that sponsorship didn't happen, he'd still be using the 15 Pro Max, actually.
Yeah, I don't. But there's also some YouTube sponsorships that are just generally known for being a little bit more dishonest, like VPN, Squarespace, Honey, obviously, and
well, I can't necessarily blame the creators for Honey because a lot of this was happening behind their backs. So
yeah, Honey was one that was happening behind their back. So yeah, and apparently BetterHelp is a popular one now.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're still sponsoring people, and people are still accepting sponsorships from them.
From BetterHelp?
Yeah, I still see the occasional BetterHelp ad.
How do you know BetterHelp? How do you know that you're not just talking to an AI?
I don't know.
When my parents split last year, I was debating going to therapy because it was very hard for me. So my mom asked me if I want BetterHelp, and I was like, okay, this should be relatively easy. It's just literally a chatting app, but no, it costs money, and so I'm like, okay, I'd much rather do it in person. And I've since recovered to the point where I don't really need therapy, but yeah, BetterHelp is such a rip-off.
Not even that, but there was a massive scandal about their sharing your data, and again, the type of stuff you're sharing with them.
Yeah.
That's like a number one no.
Yes, exactly.
Like the only people you should actually share that type of stuff with is the police, if necessary.
Yes, I know. There's so much. Yes, I know. I think my mom actually used BetterHelp because of the reason my parents split, which I won't get into, but yeah.
Yeah, that can stay between them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know why, and I think I mentioned it once in the podcast group chat, but
still, just what a nightmare that was. And I still can't believe they're still doing that, but yeah, I don't understand why sponsorships have become so controversial all of a sudden. And my only guess is just because there are people who have done it wrong. There are people who are doing it unethically. Yeah.
Surely all these tech YouTubers know that VPNs are not a legitimate way of security.
That, and there was another one related to the tech space, the whole NZXT, their Rent a PC program. I don't remember what it's called, but
yeah,
they had that Rent a PC program sponsor a few videos, and randomly it popped up in my recommended feed. One of the people who was actually sponsored by NZXT's Rent a PC program. It was supposed to be an apology for promoting this scam to his viewers. Though it didn't work out for him because he was ultimately blaming Gamers Nexus for exposing this thing.
Oh my god.
Blaming he claimed Gamers Nexus was placing all the blame on him because, and he said he shouldn't have deserved the blame. He didn't know any of this stuff was going on, which I do believe he didn't know any of that stuff was going on, but I don't believe his reason for why he didn't know any of that stuff was going on. The problem was it's his responsibility to vet the sponsor and actually do some digging, do some research on that. And this guy clearly didn't do any of that. And he tried to pass all the blame onto Gamers Nexus, who's the one who broke the story about NZXT's scam rent-a-PC thing.
Gamers Nexus always breaks stories.
Yeah, funny enough, he's actually a bit in the water right now, which is
What happened with
interesting.
him?
So you remember the whole Linus Tech Tips drama that happened in 2023?
Yes, I remember that.
So Gamers Nexus, again, was the same company that broke the whole Linus needs to make some changes about how things are going on at the company. He's the one who broke that story. So there's a bit of a beef going on, sort of, because of that. And Linus basically called something out that Gamers Nexus needs to improve, and I don't think it's... Linus says it's not for drama. I personally believe him. I don't think it's for drama, because I know the previous relationship between Steve and Linus. If they were strong, they were close. They still bring up each other's videos time to time and such. But Linus called out Gamers Nexus has performed a few unethical practices in the world of journalism. Such as, if you're going to make accusations about, or if you're going to report and accuse some party of something, according to the ethics of journalism, I guess, I haven't read up on this, though maybe I should at some point, I don't know. But according to the ethics of journalism, you should offer the opportunity for said accused party to give a statement. And there are times where, admittedly, Steve has not done that.
Jeez, and isn't that a lot like what CNN and all those news sources do?
Yeah, I know.
And how many Americans trust CNN again?
Well, that number has dropped, substantially. CNN is, they're struggling to even tread water at this point.
I think, and mind you, this isn't just for CNN. This is for Fox News, ABC News, NBC News, all of them. I think in early 2022, it was only 40% of Americans that trust CNN.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that number is even lower.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I'm gonna guess this is Tabby at both of us, if he's checking both.
Yep. Yeah, he's just asking
Tabby
if we're
is
still
joining
on, so I guess
us.
he might come in. Yep. So, Linus called him out for that. And he also did a really good explanation as of the reason for this. And it turns out, during the whole Honey scandal, Gamers Nexus, I guess, is performing a class action lawsuit against Honey. And during that, he played a clip from... apparently Linus had made a video explaining why they dropped their Honey sponsorship, but never actually made it public. Because it turns out Linus Media Group knew about this whole thing for a while, but they actively chose not to report it. Linus claims it doesn't matter what happens. If I report it, Honey is the small company. I'm now dunking on them. I'm not dunking on a small company. I'm trying to make them look bad. I lose. That's his excuse. You can choose whether or not you want to agree with him or not. I personally disagree with him, but the issue was that there was a clip from that was taken out of context, and it had severely affected the audience on Linus. It actually caused some performance issues with some of his videos, and so basically defamation. This is what
Exactly.
the whole. Yeah, this is what the right to respond is for, and this is why, to be a good journalist, you should give the accused party an opportunity to respond, because maybe you got something wrong, or maybe there's a detail behind the scenes that typically you're not supposed to know. Maybe there's something that you don't know. And this was a case of that. It affected Linus. This happened recently. Well, again, yes. The clip was taken for a video exposing the whole honey scam and such. So, yeah, so there's that beef going on right now. I mean, again, Linus doesn't want any drama, and generally knowing him and his actions on his thought process of everything, he doesn't like drama. He really doesn't, despite that there are times where he can get himself into situations like that. And I don't think Gamers Nexus likes it either, so I'm really hoping that they'll get this resolved. I've seen Gamers Nexus at least acknowledge Linus, because Linus eventually made the whole, Steve, you need to make some changes about how you perform your journalism. Steve's at least acknowledged, yes, we've received your criticism, but he hasn't responded to it yet. So I'm curious to see how that goes. So yeah, funny enough, the channel that I watch that exposes all of these company and corporate scams in the PC space, they're now under some heat too.
Yeah, that's always how it goes. But one YouTube channel that I watch that generally is really accurate, that does a lot of investigation, is Megalag.
Yeah, it was actually that channel that finally brought the whole scam to light. I mean, there have been other channels that have tried, though I guess some need just sheer size in order to get there.
Tabby's got to plug us up in.
Yeah. Yeah, then there's other investigative videos like Cold Fusion. Dude, DeGogo is amazing.
Yes, he brought the whole Australia he brought the whole scandal about Australia trying to ban social media for everyone under the age of 17. He brought that to light.
Oh,
probably because he is
DeGogo
Australian,
is
so
amazing.
So it matters to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DeGogo is awesome.
Yeah, and he's been reporting for well over a decade at this point.
I wish I could make videos like him. I just don't have the time.
I'm sure he's probably just managed to find a streamlined process, and he just managed to do that because he is also a part-time musician.
Yeah, that's right. He's mentioned that he's made some... I wonder if it seems like every intro to all of his pieces, it seems like every intro is something custom made for each individual video.
Probably because it is.
Yeah. Yeah, his music's not bad either.
Yeah, he probably makes a fortune off, again, his YouTube channel is so much bigger that he has more time, but I don't know if anybody else is actually helping him do it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking, I just came up with a video idea yesterday in regards to these items here.
Oh yeah, you got the wireless Mighty Mouse.
Oh yeah. Dude, I hate corded mice. I hate corded mice with a passion.
Hi, Tabby.
Even though
I'm recording.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah, hi Tabby. Sorry.
That is technically true unless you're outside. Then it would be the sky.
The ceiling is up, yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is literally my go-to response
Yeah.
every single time somebody says, "What's up?"
I mean, right
I always
now,
just look up. And
looks like a
report what I
ceiling,
see.
but you can never be too sure. Sometimes those ceilings can be confusing.
Yeah.
It is a ceiling.
You don't think so?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think so, but okay.
I mean, sometimes you can look up and you think you see a ceiling, but it's not a
No.
ceiling. I mean, look at a skylight. That's a window. I mean, look at the headliner on your car.
That's
Some
true,
people would
true.
call that ceiling,
Oh,
but technically
you're
it's
right.
a headliner. That's very true. Also, sometimes it's a panoramic roof, like in a, I guess, a
Sometimes it's a
Taycan
sunroof.
or a Model Y, I think, right? Don't all of them have the panoramic ones now?
All Teslas have a panoramic
Do those open?
roof since. My gosh, they've all had them for a long time. There was a very short time. There was a very short time where you could get a Tesla without a glass roof.
I know the
And
Macan
you can
EV
get a
sunroof
Tesla
opens, and that's
with a
something
sunroof that
is
actually
pretty
opens.
interesting about it because none of the other EVs that I've really been in have had a roof that opens. I mean, besides...
I think
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate.
I
Yeah,
think
a
my
lot of
car.
electric vehicles have
What's
ditched
up,
that.
Teddy?
I think my car I think my car technically. I think my car technically has a sunroof.
Yeah,
that
it's
can
a
open,
C300,
but
right?
I've never tried to get it open, but I think
Yeah, it
does
probably
open.
opens. I was actually looking at C300 lease deals a few months ago. Yeah, it was. I think it was a used lease, but honestly,
Was
I
it for
feel
a
like they
new
would
one, I'm
want way too
guessing?
much down payment on that for what it's worth, and it's not really what I'm looking for exactly.
Yeah, because my car
It wasn't like older,
So my
older. It was
car's
like a
not even worth
20,
10 grand
23
now.
or something. So it's like pretty new still.
It's funny how.
It's the only way that you could lease one, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure you generally go newer. Yeah. Alright, well, shall I move on to our next topic, which this is actually supposed to be our first topic, but Tabby was
I
late,
did,
so
and that's,
Tabby, I believe you
That's
took your
what I've
Mac
been
Studio
dealing
to
with
Apple.
for the last few days, and I'm still setting up everything on my MacBook Pro. Currently trying to get my second monitor up. But yeah, I've taken the Mac Studio to Apple. They have control over it now. They said that it should be ready in a few days.
Yeah, you're finally getting the Mac Studio fix that died during the season 2
Yeah.
premiere of
I mean, it's worked
show, and
kind
now we're
of
on
for
season 4.
a lot of the time, but
Because remember the hype clip in the TIFP season 2 premiere when when Tabby stated that his Mac Studio died.
I will ever buy a Mac. I think I'm done with Mac forever now.
Oh, wait. You say that, and then you go to Windows, and the exact same thing
Oh
happens.
no, the Mac Studio just died completely.
Wait, what?
What? Yeah. In fact, maybe I'll
my
maybe
phone
when,
out.
maybe
It's
if I edit,
vibrating, but I
in fact maybe with the editing me we'll have to put
Oh, it's on my
integrate
MacBook.
that into this episode. Yeah,
yeah.
just a Mac Studio just casually dying in the middle of the TIFP.
Oh no, it looks like
episode.
my USB-C cable does not oh man, my USB-C cable can't do 60 hertz on my second monitor, and the HDMI port for whatever reason isn't working. Apple is the only people that know how to do a USB-C monitor properly.
That's annoying. Yeah.
Dude, you are so right.
Just the Apple's monitors are so expensive. And that their $6,000 and that their $5,000 monitor only has a
On the
60
studio
hertz
display,
refresh
it has
rate.
60 hertz, and I've never wanted more. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Studio Display it might be more fine, but on the Pro Display XDR,
No, Pro Display XDR needs it because we need a panel that is actually capable of matching what the
I feel
MacBooks
like
have.
there's probably some other reason why they limited it to 60 hertz on the Pro Display XDR. It's probably something to do with either the fact that, we gotta keep in mind that monitor came out in 2019. That's 6 years ago. And then another thing, there
it came
could
out in the
be
previous decade,
my volume
back
is
when I was
way
in
up. I gotta
elementary
change
school.
that, but it could be something relating to the fact that a lot of cinema is shot in like 24 frames per second, and I don't really know what kind of cinematographers would care enough about a 120 hertz panel, but my second monitor just decided to go out because this USB-C cable is very, very spotty. So I am
Yep.
yeah.
That's
The only thing I can think of is like game developers that want to include some cinematic shots
be.
in their games. So I think that would be useful for them.
And also, I mean, it's
And
a $6,000 monitor.
I know I'm thinking
so
niche, but again, this monitor's for a niche audience. So
It's $6,000.
Yeah, back to the
so
Mac Studio.
Asus is a 500 hertz
I-
monitor, so
I'm at the point where if this doesn't work, I'm trading it in and I'm getting the base of the base Mac Mini, and I'm going to use that for a little while, and then I'm not even going to get the SSD upgrade. I'm going to use it for a while,
that's good.
and then I'm going to put it up in my bedroom, and I'm going to buy M5 Mac Mini with actual high specs, because I'm going to buy an M4 Mac Mini eventually, for my room.
That's a great.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
wanna
great
get
idea,
the
to be
experience
honest, because
of it.
my
It's a first-gen
grandmother really
product.
likes
I
her
really
new
like
M4 Mac
the idea
Mini.
of it. I like the design. I'm a big fan of the computer overall. Yeah, they could have done something about that weird power button placement, but that doesn't really affect me. Although I could definitely see how
yeah,
it would be
that is
annoying.
so dumb.
But
Yeah, I know. I'm obviously the one who's raised the biggest
Yeah, I
stink
don't
about
get
it,
what they
and
were
this is
thinking.
because I do plan on actually mounting the computer, and because the power button, because the power button is just placed in such a weird spot, I don't know how mount makers are going to account for that, because if there's one thing that we all know about Apple products, especially when it comes to mounting them, they always try to find a way to keep the Apple logo exposed. And where's the Apple logo? Which means they're likely to keep that side exposed, while
And also, I
the
feel like-
underside, where
I feel like you would need to have
arguably an
the
important
underside
button
exposed for
is,
cooling efficiency.
is not.
If you think about that. But what gets me?
That's.
I mean,
I would
Yeah,
assume in a
Apple
really
Silicon's
hot
so
server
dang
room
efficient,
where-
when
'cause
does the
a lot of
fan
server
ever need
rooms
to
you can
actually
find them in,
run?
like Utah, places like that, just generally places where those server rooms get hot in the summer.
The
I've
thing
never
is,
been
though,
to a server room, but yeah.
an internal fan wouldn't do anything, because at that point
Yeah,
it's
but,
just pulling in hot air. You need to chill the room,
I feel like
not
what would end
the
up
computer.
happening is the computer would, notice
Yeah.
that the entire circulation is getting cut off, and it would do some sort of a BIOS error. Because I'm sure they have not power sensors.
Yeah.
What is it called? Airflow sensors in there. But what confuses me? What happens to rack mounted computers at this point? What are we gonna do about rack mounting Mac Minis?
Well, I'm sure they'll come out with a custom rack to deal with that, though I'll
They
admit
have to
finding
find
a
a
way to make
way.
sure the power buttons are still pressable is going to be interesting.
What are they trying
I
to pull off the
actually,
Mac Mini
I actually
for
have a
rack mounting?
theory on what Apple's
Mac Pro will be rack
doing.
mounted?
I'm just saying, like, I wonder if Apple's is trying to make the Mac Mint Studio and Mac Pro
Or business.
more for rack mounting, so that way businesses will buy more of the expensive Macs.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
they're bigger.
the issue with that though is those get so pricey, and when you need like a sheer volume of computers, no, rack mounted Mac Pro is not going to be the right option.
Yeah.
I mean, price to performance, one Mac Mini is great, but the issue is when you want to deploy multiple of them for purposes. Yeah, it makes sense to put them in a rack and have them function that way, but no, to substitute all of that with like a rack mounted Mac Pro, no, that there's no cost benefit to doing that at all.
Maybe Apple should start selling power button adapters until they move it back.
I mean, hey, Dell has one for their laptops.
They have a power button
I'm
adapter.
not even joking. Well, not an adapter, but you know my Thunderbolt dock I use at work?
Oh yeah, that has a power button on it.
It does have a power button. Now, albeit every single time I use it, it always boots the laptop without activating the GPU! Most infuriating thing ever. Required
hang on, let
Four.
me find it.
4 restarts to get SolidWorks to see the GPU today.
Windows is just a mess. I
That's
mean,
not-
honestly, I got this.
That sounds pleasant.
I got this big, massive Dell Windows laptop recently.
So annoying.
It's from 2011, and I wanted to use it as like a little side machine, but I didn't want to put Windows 10 on it. I'm definitely not going to put Windows 11, or I didn't want to. So I tried getting Windows 7 on it because I'm not going to do anything where I would care about security.
Oh no.
You know, if you're not stupid, you're not going to get your network infiltrated. That's the way that I see it. I've been fine with Windows 7 before. I run Windows XP on one of my machines, and I still connect it to the internet just fine. I have a little browser on there that'll let me watch YouTube and stuff, right? So I'm not afraid of that. But Microsoft makes it so unbelievably hard, and Dell doesn't help with the fact that this computer came on Windows 7, right? So you know what
No.
operating system they recommend the drivers for? Make a guess. Make a guess. Windows XP.
Windows 7.
I'm like, huh?
Windows 8.
Yeah, Windows XP was already about 10 years old at that time.
For a laptop
And
from
I'm like,
2011.
Okay, well, let's just switch the driver let's just switch the Dell website to show me Windows 7 drivers. Website's broken, so I can't. Okay, I guess I could probably install the Windows XP drivers. Probably won't make that big of a difference. I mean, they're from 2013, so they're definitely from, after the laptop came out. Compatibility error. Right, so I got the driver for the network card right from Intel. Got the Intel
Of course.
integrated graphics driver 3000 from Intel. Install those. Blue screen of death. Right? So I went onto archive.org. I found the official Dell drivers. Right? Someone just downloaded them, re-uploaded them because someone had a feeling that Dell would take the website down, I guess. Right? 2020. I go in, this is from 2020, so it's not too long ago. It's
Well,
only
they were right.
4.5 years ago. The drivers, for whatever reason, the guy didn't put the drivers in the right place. So he gave drivers for Linux, Windows 10, Windows 7, or something like that. Windows XP, and I think Vista. Something like that. Maybe not 10, I forgot. But turns out he forgot to put the drivers in the right place. So the only drivers I got for Windows 7 were like deployment drivers for like corporations. I'm like, I don't need to deploy the computer. I want proper graphics. I want proper internet. And then I want a proper trackpad driver. I don't care about deployment. I don't care about RAID. I don't care about any of that. I don't care about the BIOS revisions. I can find BIOS anywhere. But I could probably do the BIOS, myself if I had to with a USB drive. But for whatever reason, they just Dell's website doesn't work. Nobody really archived the drivers in the proper way. And it's not like it's a MacBook or anything. It's a pretty uncommon laptop. I mean, you probably never even heard about it. But the laptop itself, the bottom half of it is thicker than any recent MacBook I own. So it is M6600 or something.
Is it one of those
M6000?
Precision
I don't know.
laptops?
It's a nice little
That's
laptop.
what I thought.
You know, it's got really impressive specs to it. i7 2nd gen. Why?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think that's why you might be having an issue finding drivers. So, the Precision lineup is supposed to be a laptop, but with a lot more desktop components integrated. Like, my boss's laptop is along the Precision line, and its GPU
I was surprised.
is like a Quadro,
I could find
like
the
an
AMD
NVIDIA
drivers.
Quadro
I
GPU.
could find the NVIDIA drivers, but finding the integrated
So-
drivers, because it doesn't have dedicated graphics for whatever reason, which I guess is a pretty unique model because most of them have the Fire Pro or the Quadro. But you could tell somebody really
Wow.
used that HDMI port on the back, because there looks to be a decade of scratching next to the HDMI port. And I mean, the computer has a sticker that says presidential election. I voted 2012. So that dates the machine a lot. It's got eSATA, HDMI of some sort, VGA, which looks like the VGA was kind of used too. It's got Ethernet. Let's see what's on the sides, because that's all in the back. Yeah. It's got a USB port. That looks like
So
it
this
used
guy
a
was
lot.
connecting a lot of displays
Another
to
USB
it.
port. That looks like it was used a lot too. It's got a FireWire port, or a 1394 port. That looks like it was never used. It's got a mic in and headphone in. That looks like it was never used. SD card slot. That looks like it might have been used a little bit. It's got, this is actually really interesting. It's got a slot loading DVD drive, which is really cool. It even makes the noise like old iMacs and MacBooks do when you try and boot it up. It's got one of those,
Yeah.
what's up?
Question.
Yeah.
Can
Now,
you
let me
turn
try
on your
and
camera
get
and
this.
show me the
It's got, like, one of
laptop?
those
I think I know
express
exactly what it might
port.
look like. I just want to see.
Express card ports. Let me go through the rest of the ports though. It's got a network slider, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it's got. Like a empty slot. Then it's got 2 more USBs and DisplayPort. I'll show you this real quick. I'm getting a call though, so I gotta pick that up after.
All right.
But it's a massive laptop.
Wow.
That looks exactly like my dad's old laptop.
Let me see this real quick. Give me 1 second.
That looks like one of the old laptops.
They are a tank. Yep. Yep. Go
That
for
looks
it.
like one of the old laptops they used in The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I remember that type of laptop so well. My dad has had one of those, and that thing was a complete tank. Oh, that brings back memories. That really does. Especially the DVD drive. We watched a movie in a hotel room on that thing. I remember that. Wow. That I'm going down memory lane right now because of that.
Yeah, I actually still have one of my dad's old laptops. Hang on, let me grab it. I still have my parents' old Vio.
Sorry, I'm back.
And his
But,
old HP, and I remember him using these, so... Did you hear what I said about how that
the ones from
laptop
Big Bang
reminds me of
Theory
one of
were
the ones they
Alienware,
used
right?
on Big Bang Theory?
Ooh, yeah, I remember his old XPS that he had.
No, they were.
That was cool.
There was an XPS
I also just
on the Big Bang. They
what?
were like in there, the very. Yeah.
Yeah, then
that was
Wolowitz
like
had a 06 MacBook Pro, right?
That was like a red XPS that they had.
No, Raj had a PowerBook at one point, then a 17-inch MacBook Pro.
Or I think that was Raj who. I think it was Raj. I know Raj. No. Yeah, that was Again, I haven't watched The Big Bang Theory
That was a
closely
good
enough
show,
to look
though.
at
I
how the
like that
computers
show.
evolved over time, since that show ran for 12 whole seasons. I like the Big Bang Theory for its first 3 seasons. However, I don't like how after they brought Amy and Bernadette on that show, how it just started getting more and more like a typical sitcom cliches with relationships. Like I just don't like how it changed gradually over
but
time.
I was looking at the
Yeah, I think it ran on for a little too long.
and
but
it has one of those like weird ports for like the docks. I forgot what they called them. What was it? PCI something?
it's kind of like
I
PowerBook
remember
Deal
that
dock.
too. The thing is, my dad never used
It's
it.
not like a normal PCI. Hold on.
Wasn't an
I'm
actual
looking.
PCI port?
And there's like, what is this? I'm like, what the world? This computer's so confusing. So I just popped open the battery compartment just to see what was down here. And there's a little lever, right? And it has a storage logo. So I'm like, there's not an SSD there, or hard drive, because it's on the
That's
edge
Dell
of the
as
computer.
engineering for
I'll
ya.
show you this. I'm like, there cannot be a hard drive jammed in this little area. So I take it out. What is this, like a Wi-Fi card? This is such a weird computer. And what? Why?
Huh.
It's like a Wi-Fi card, I think. That's just, why put it there?
That could
Probably
be
is a
it.
Wi-Fi
I mean,
card.
come on. Something like that.
It might be a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth hybrid card or something. I mean, why put it there, though? I think it's because the majority of the laptop is made out of metal, which means it's hard to get signals out, so it might be there closer to the side or something.
I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah,
take this thing
because
apart
metal's
a
really
little
hard
bit,
to get signals
take
out
the-
of.
I had to take it apart to replace the RAM because the RAM was actually preventing it from booting. For some reason, but that's Windows for you. But it's really easy to get into. There's 2 screws. Of course, the previous owner lost one. And then I can just like lift it, or I can actually slide the metal compartment thing. This, let me show you this. This thing off, and then inside, this thing is dusty, but inside
Oh yeah.
looks like I have access to the optical drive, RAM. It's like an mSATA SSD in here. That's 512 gigs. Yeah.
That's
Remember the
cool.
days when
Looks like I can
computers
even
were
replace the
relatively
fan
easy to
within-
repair?
Man, I can replace
Oh,
this fan.
I remember.
1 screw, maybe 2 screws. I'm gonna take the fan out to clean it out.
Yep.
That's cool. Last time I had to open my MacBook to clean it up, I was a lot of screws. Yeah, the fan's 2 screws and it's out. Oh man, that is the most dust I've seen in a fan in a long
Yep.
time. Man, it looks like a rabbit in here. Dude.
I'm shocked not.
Yep.
I know this does not Colin from This Does Not Compute one time repaired a vintage Mac from the early 90s that had, I kid you not, a literal rat's nest in it.
Was the rat's nest
Literal. Yeah, a literal
Still
rat's
active?
nest. Oh no, it had long since been gone. It had long since been gone, but basically, he found evidence like of some sort of treatment that was used inside that computer that was likely to
I feel
fight
bad like,
rats.
dusting this thing out near my desk because all this is going right into my MacBook, I bet. This is like someone's whole apartment full of
That
dust,
would be
dirt,
irritating.
and garbage. Man,
You should take a look at my
Does it
room.
have a
It's
date
very
on it?
dusty
Does this
in
have
my
a price?
room.
doesn't look like it has a date. Yeah, it looks pretty OEM.
I'm sure that fan was not replaced.
It's actually a really high spec computer for the time because it's got like a 512 gig SSD and I think it's original to the computer. For its day,
That's cool.
512 on an SSD.
That's very cool.
I feel like that would have been like really, really high end, like $1,000 card. But yeah, that fan is really easy to
It was, I
service.
believe.
See what else I can mess with in here. The CMOS battery is pretty easy to get to.
You'll just so you know, you'll pretty much be able to get access to pretty much everything. I know this due to
Yeah.
knowing the
See, the
repair
SSD.
history of a similar computer.
Yeah, this is actually kind of cool.
So yeah, you'll
I'm gonna
pretty
try
much
and
be able
look
to
up the
access
Samsung
everything.
SSD's date code because I'm really wondering if this is original. Alright, I'm gonna look it up. See if they have... Oh yeah, Samsung date codes. So... 7J... Oh, what? 320. I think this is from 2017. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
would
sure
make
that
much more
that's
sense
how
if it's
that-
not
that
original.
Calculator things for like washers.
I will say though, a common
Yeah.
issue with those laptops
Yeah.
was
I
hard
don't know where
drive
you would put a
failure.
hard drive
So
Yeah, that was...
I would not be shocked if it did
but
have a
I'm just
replacement.
confused. I don't see
Well,
anywhere
okay,
for,
but I
like,
mean
an
like that
actual
it's
hard
just
drive.
drive failure in general.
Like it I don't see a SATA bay anywhere. There's so much dust. Under the fan it looks like
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What is that under the fan? It's like they have like a
chip.
it looks like a hard drive of some sort, but it yeah, what is this thing? This is such a confusing computer. I'm taking the fan out because I want to figure out if that's a hard drive that might have failed under the fan. Alright, let's see. There's a model number on this.
You know, I wonder if they
Someone
put
will
it directly
figure
under the
out.
fan for cooling.
NSK-DW0BF. Let's see. Oh, it's the keyboard. No, DW.
DW
so-
Western Digital
Well, that's the keyboard that I'm looking at anyway, because I just looked it up.
keyboard.
That's the model number to a keyboard. So I guess for some reason they put the keyboard, the keyboard's like model sticker under the fan in a circular like window. Okay, well that's interesting. Oh, I found where you would put a hard drive. You put it in the opposite of how you normally would. You put it in like vertically, not like on its side. But normally you slide it in like into the computer.
Ah.
But this one you slide like the other way. That's weird. What is a DMC card port? Got two
I'll look
Wi-Fi
up what a
card
DMC
slots.
card
Why would you need
is.
two Wi-Fi cards. Network cards, whatever. Really?
Networking performance.
Well, I mean, a DMC card is apparently a solution from
I
MasterCard
don't
that
know if
enables
we're,
e-commerce for
I don't know if
purchases
we're
from
on
your
the same
mobile
page
banking
here.
app. Yeah, I looked up DMC cards to see what comes up, and apparently, like, there's like a
apparently it's
DMC
another
color Charizard coming
MSATA
up.
SSD. That makes sense. Looks like some Dell proprietary thing. But yeah, this is crazy because you can get to like everything that you need. Oh wait. Oh, I think I know what that weird connector
And
that
more.
came out of the computer was. I think that might be not an express card. You know those like cards that you tap to the computer, like an authenticator card? Kind of like NFC, but more secure.
Oh.
I guess it kind of predated like normal like NFC being used for security purposes, but I think it's that. I remember it's called like something card because Dell used to use card for everything. Looks like this other air fan is like blocked in. Like if you wanted to remove that, you'd have to remove almost the whole computer. Really interesting design inside though. Makes me wonder.
Makes sense. Oh.
Dude, you'd be surprised at what Dell does to engineer their computers.
It's a really nicely
especially
made
their
computer for what it
desktops.
is.
I've worked in
It's
their
kinda
desktops
unfortunate
many
they,
times.
I guess they discontinued this kind of design because I think the new Precisions are more of the XPS's design, right?
Yeah, they're
Oh,
pretty much
and
just
the-
a XPS
Probably
with
has the
some
Quadro
slightly
instead of
more
the GTX or
desktop
RTX.
slash workstation professional grade hardware.
Oh, and of course, there's no the.
Yeah, like my XPS has an RTX 3050, while the GPU in my laptop
Does
is
he still use?
some
a,
NVIDIA Quadro
Precision?
GPU or something.
Oh.
He upgraded though, right? Not this one. Which one is it, if you know?
Yep.
So it's probably like one of the
Is it 2020 or
17-inch
2021?
XPS looking ones.
I think it was 2020.
The XPS came out.
It was when the XPS literally just came out.
XPS got
Yeah.
redesigned.
Oh yeah, I'm talking like when it got redesigned for USB-C only. The display basically
Yeah.
touches the entire panel. There's no bezel
I really
or anything
want to
like
get
that.
this thing working.
Yeah,
on
that's
Windows
when the
7.
XPS
It's
had
just,
gotten
like,
its
impossible
redesign.
with all these drivers. I guess I'm gonna try and put a fork of. Yeah, I know that Microsoft really. Does
I
not
really don't
want-
know who to blame for that. Well, have you tried just doing a complete? Yeah,
So
have you tried
unfortunately,
just doing a complete fresh install, getting
These
rid of all
issues
the
are
Dell
due to a
bloatware?
fresh install because if I had the Dell bloatware, I'd also have the Dell drivers. But I think I'm gonna try and do a fork of like Windows 11, where it's basically
That's true.
no bloatware. It's only what you need, not even a web browser. Yep, that's what it's called.
Oh, Tiny 11.
I'll have to.
Yeah,
look into
Tiny 10,
because
Tiny 11 seem like kind
I
of cool
want to have
operating
this thing run
systems.
smoothly. Because as of right now, this might be the best Windows laptop that I own. Because I have a lot of really unfortunate Windows laptops right now. I mean, like those Windows Vista, Windows XP era, Media Center ones. And this is actually a really nice
Yep.
laptop for when it came out. This is probably a $4,000 computer.
I'm willing to
I mean,
bet it's probably
I would
closer
think
to
so with
5,000,
the
maybe
the
6,000.
Fire Pro card or the
Yeah.
Quadro, but since this only has integrated, it is a little bit lower end. Cleaning the keyboard up right now, though. Yeah, especially because it's got the 17-inch touchscreen.
It's still going to be up there in price, though.
Yeah, that would have been expensive back in
touchscreen laptops,
2011.
My dad's
Absolutely
didn't
hate
even
them.
have that.
They're stupid.
Yeah, that's pretty. They're pretty.
Nobody wants
Do
them.
you all remember what Steve Jobs said about the
don't
idea
know
of
why they still
touchscreen
exist.
laptops?
They think that people use them, and then people say they use them, but then they come up with excuses to use them, only to
The way
head
that
back
I
to the
see
keyboard
it,
and
if
the
you're
mouse
gonna
because
buy,
that's what the desktop operating
If you're
system
gonna
is designed for.
buy a laptop, buy the best laptop. If you're gonna buy a tablet, buy the best tablet. Don't buy a bad laptop that's also a bad tablet. Because you can get a really good laptop for $400 now. Brand new.
Exactly.
Pick it up same day at the store. You can get a good laptop for $400. But then it could be a great laptop though. It could be a great
I mean,
laptop.
depends.
if
I mean,
it didn't
depends
have
on
the
like
touchscreen,
Windows.
because think about how much money they could be putting into hardware or better design if we didn't have these stupid like touchscreen laptops.
Yeah.
We could have some really nice things.
If I recall, isn't like the
I think you
touchscreen
lose the
option of my
4K
XPS like
Well, I don't think the
$300
$7
or
had the
something?
OLED, but yours is LCD, right?
No, actually, I think at the time, what was available was it's either a 1080p LCD non-touch, but if you wanted to upgrade for any of the features, then you basically had
right.
to get the whole thing in
Yeah.
one, like the OLED, the touchscreen, and the 4K.
So you upgrade. So is yours touchscreen or not?
You have
No, mine's still the 1080p panel, and
you
that's
have
because what
the
I'm doing on it isn't
matte panel, right?
resolution really doesn't affect it.
I prefer
think
those matte
so.
panels.
I can't
over the glossy
pull it out
panels
right now because I left it at
they
the
don't
office,
show
but
dirt as much, and they're also anti-reflective. A little bit better.
I prefer glossy because they show back colors better, but
I was going to say, I usually have more problems when it comes to dealing with reflections. My issue with matte panels is whatever light source hits it from outside the panel,
Yeah, that is a good
it just
point on
washes
some
the entire
LCDs.
thing out and you can't see anything.
yeah, it's a massive problem.
So, yeah, that's usually why I prefer to get glossy panels. And, well, yeah, there's that. The XPS doesn't have that, but, I mean, I knew how I was going to be using it. I knew I was going to be docking it most of the time. I hardly ever actually see the beautiful 17-inch display on that thing. Most of the time, it's just docked to my two Samsung 1080p monitors at my desk. And so it's like, why spend another $300 for a display that I'm not
get
going to
it.
look at that much? It just didn't make sense. So,
Well, speaking of displays, shall we move on to or speaking of technology, shall we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, why not?
It's actually planned.
sure.
So Pebble is apparently coming back.
They're a smartwatch brand, right?
Yep. Before the Apple Watch.
That's actually kind of cool.
Before the Apple
I
Watch
like
as we know
those,
it, I should
the
say.
idea. Never had a working one though.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to be
Yeah.
cool. It's just the Apple Watches just are ultimately better.
I don't have much to say because the truth is I really don't know much about Pebble watches.
Neither do I, because they were really popular. They were only popular before I was in the tech community. Before I was old enough to care. So
I think a lot of people really liked their product, and I think it's nice that they're bringing it back. What are they gonna do with it?
So from what I've heard,
Not
they're
sure.
apparently going to make it like have an open source operating system or something. Because Pebble OS is licensed, but I don't. But because the real Pebble was bought out by Fitbit, and Fitbit was bought out by Google, I don't know if it's like the original Pebble, but or else if it's a Nextel type situation where there is a firm in Florida called Nextel. It makes phones that mimic
What is
the
it, just like
functionality
the,
of old Nextel phones, but aren't
the
actually
brand name is the
like
same?
the OG Nextel that's been bought.
Oh, I forgot about Circuit City's website.
Maybe it's kind of like Circuit City's website.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the
Circuit
original
City
company
sounds
except for
cool,
the
though.
brand name.
Apparently, I've been in one a few times.
It was before our time, but yeah, it really does sound cool.
Anywho, should we move on to the next topic?
All right, so this is
Oh,
our
sorry.
final topic.
Okay.
Nvidia is no longer the world's most valuable company because of that whole DeepSeek thing.
What happened?
Nvidia is no longer the world's most valuable company.
What deep?
You know
thing?
DeepSeek? Or DeepSeek?
What's that?
It's
It's
China's
China's new-
AI.
What did they do with it?
So China released a DeepSeek AI, which is their competitor ChatGPT, that is free, open source, and performs on par with OpenAI's $200 per month model, but it's still training data from OpenAI.
Huh. Good thing I didn't buy into Nvidia like I was planning to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the truth is the whole S&P 500 actually took a hit from that.
What's the S&P 500?
I do own some of that.
A stock market price?
I don't know stocks that well. I don't understand it that much because it's a lot of it is just gambling and I'm not into that, and B, there's so much confusion around it. I should probably send you a link to one of my friends who made a video about it. Let me see.
I think there's ways to make money in the stock market if you know what you're doing. But it's definitely hard. Some people put their whole savings into it.
Yeah,
That's
I
dumb.
I think
That
that's
is-
stupid.
That is a bet. If you want to make it, you can, but I would not recommend putting all of your assets into the stock market just based on the fact that if you don't know what you're doing, you're losing a lot of money,
Yeah.
potentially. Or maybe your whole life savings is $5 in a bag of Cheez-Its, but if that's the case, then you might want to find a way to make some more money.
So yeah, I sent a link that actually discussed the whole S&P stock crashing because of it.
Huh. Oh yeah, the Rand Nexus.
Yep.
I might have to check that out later after we get done recording.
So I've already talked about how I think the stock market is more of a hindrance towards making great products. Yeah,
Yeah,
you missed a
well-
whole rant on China, actually.
Yeah.
On China.
On China.
Yeah.
It was a good one too. You'll have to listen back to it once these are once this is posted.
Yeah, like I had to listen
Yeah.
back. I'm listening back to the part of last week's TIFP episode that I wasn't part that I wasn't here for.
How is it so far?
It's really good so far, and again, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I plan on uploading the video version tomorrow, and I have to say it's really good. I've only listened to the first 20 minutes, so, and I probably only have like another hour or so to go, since I believe I was like an hour in when I showed up last week. Which, speaking of, I will be.
I accidentally deleted my graphics for that.
I mean, it makes sense since you haven't edited the show in such a long time.
The thing is that I hardly purge my computer.
Yeah, that's true. I frequently purge my computer.
I don't know how I lost it. I must have done some random purge at one point and I just completely forgot about it, but yeah, I couldn't find the graphics. I had to completely remake them.
Well, they're, to be honest, they're a little bit better, so.
Well, actually, I'm thinking, because I have motion, I might create a special graphic and find a way to save it in a format so that way if you want to apply it, all you have to do is just overlay it on top. And Final Cut does the rest. And this includes the visuals, the audio, everything. I finally figured out how to apply my, my intros and my outros that I do. The intro, I have a sound effect that plays the whole whoosh and the bongs and such. I finally figured out how to sync that to the visuals when exporting the clip because it just never worked before. And so finally I got it in one file and all I have to do is just drag it in place and we're all set.
Yeah, because I currently do like the older style. Typically, I do the older style TIFP intro. The alpha first started when we first started doing hype clips.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go back to editing the show if the viewers want.
I mean, you could. I mean, I prefer doing it because it's a lot faster.
Yeah, true. It is faster when you do it yourself. Because I mean. This week was a very big abnormality for me. I was expecting to have this done by Sunday, but that just... Well, for one, I had the road trip. Monday... Something went on Monday. I don't remember what, but something went on Monday. Tuesday, I had to do overtime at work, which was why I never got it uploaded by then. And so that's why Wednesday was when I finished it. So... Very abnormal week. Not typical.
Yeah, last week was a little bit more abnormal for me too, but this weekend should be a little more, which is why I can. But this weekend should be a lot easier for me at the show.
Yep. Well, I think we discussed the NVIDIA stuff.
Yeah, do you have any more topics we want to talk about?
We were about to start talking about this.
I guess we could go back into the Alpha's new My Mouse.
Yeah, you guys never had the wireless one?
No, mine's
I did.
wired.
I got one out of a garbage can some time ago. Many moons ago.
So does the wired one have this removable panel like the wireless, or is it just for the wireless?
Oh yeah, no, it doesn't have
No,
that.
the wired
Okay.
one.
That's just for the wireless.
I couldn't remember because I haven't seen a wired Mighty Mouse in a while.
Yeah, I have
Where
one.
do you get the wireless one from?
I found this on eBay.
Did you get the
nice.
matching keyboard too?
Oop. It's plugged into the computer.
Oh, is that the USB?
Wait a sec.
I got. Yeah.
These are so awesome. Like I have one too, and it has its own USB ports on it, and this thing is awesome.
Yeah, I have one of those next to me right now.
Yeah, I think this
Which I have
keyboard
those
is a bit
ports.
underrated. I mean, I understand why everyone loves
Nice
the Magic's keyboard and why everyone likes Bluetooth keyboards. It frees up a wire on the desk and such, but man, did Apple take such an advantage of an opportunity of, okay, the keyboard has to be plugged in. The iMac only has 4 USB ports, which would mean 2
they're
would
on
be
the
taken up by a
back.
keyboard and a mouse. Oh yeah,
I actually
there
have my
was
mouse
also some
plugged into
iMacs
the
that only
other
had
USB.
3.
I have the USB port. I have my mouse plugged into one of the USB ports on my keyboard.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like the theory was okay, especially because believe it or not, there are versions of that iMac that only had 3 USBs and not 4. That would mean a keyboard and a mouse would be taking up 2 of your 3 USB ports. That's a bit inconvenient.
Mine
So their solution was they integrated 2 more into the keyboard.
That's handy
Huh?
because my OA iMac only has 3 USB ports, so
Yep.
which believe it or not, I haven't actually done any upgrades on my OA iMac. It still has its original hard drive and RAM, and I really should. And I really should upgrade its RAM and put an SSD in it, but I just haven't done it yet.
Just be careful of the power supply.
Yeah, I want to give it to the SSD treatment so I can patch it to at least macOS Catalina, although possibly higher, because I know it's a bad idea, but maybe this thing needs to go to Sequoia. Because yes, you can put Sequoia on those.
My goodness.
It won't run well, but you can do it.
Yikes.
And I mean, you're gonna miss out on Apple Intelligence, of course, but
Oh, I'm totally fine
That's a good
missing out
thing.
on that.
yeah.
If anything,
I find
that'll just improve it.
I find it hysterical how you can still patch Macs as old as 2008 onto macOS Sequoia.
It's just software. Just all you need is the correct drivers, and then
Yep.
it's just software at the end of the day.
And those old Macs are so
I mean,
upgradable.
until Apple Silicon takes over.
Yeah, that'll all change once Apple Silicon fully takes over, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Old Macs are so upgradable that they can not too difficultly run modern versions of macOS.
Mm-hmm. Well, something I wanted to ask you guys. Which mouse do you prefer? The Magic Mouse or the Mighty Mouse? Just out of curiosity.
Magic Mouse.
Magic Mouse with touch sensitivity.
Yeah, the touch sensitivity is so much cooler.
Well, I also learned in setting up this mouse, for one, you get secondary click on this as well. Which means,
Makes sense.
yes, there's a touchpad in here that can sense whether you're touching this side or this side of the mouse. And then there's another touch point that I'm not too sure how many people actually know about that I discovered just through looking through the settings. Did you know that you can squeeze these pads?
Yes, I did.
I remember that.
I
need
didn't
to
know that.
If you try to grab it,
Wait a second.
try
Let
and
me
grab it
boot.
by the pads, lift it up in the air, and try clicking.
Wait a minute.
Then try and grab it below the pads on the plastic and try
I'm booting up my iMac right now. I'll show you it right now.
while it's in the air.
So I'm gonna try that.
It's like the whole thing's like a clamshell design. I feel like.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting design. I'm surprised that I think this actually technically has more inputs than the Magic Mouse.
Apple should
so.
really consider bringing that back for the next generation of the Magic Mouse.
They didn't discontinue it till 2017. Hold on, I'm getting a call.
I guess while I'm at my iMac, I should change this wallpaper.
I gotta go eat dinner in a minute.
Alright, we can go ahead and close out the show.
Yeah, I guess so. It's late.
So, as always, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy.
I'm Tabby Cat.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
As always, we are saying peace out for now, and we shall see you in the next episode with probably not very much tech news. Bye.